Good day, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. Family members of a toddler who was the victim of a homicide say the little girl was vibrant and loved to dance. Manitoba RCMP announced on Thursday the death of a 2-year-old girl on Bloodvein First Nation. The girl has been identified as Jessiah Young. Her primary caregiver, her grandmother, 56-year-old Burma Sky from Bloodvein First Nation, has been charged with second-degree murder. Josiah's aunt, Roberta Goosehead, says she raised Josiah as her own until last October when she was struggling finding childcare and missing work. That's when Sky took the 2-year-old into her care. Goosehead says Sky immediately cut off communication with her. She says Josiah loved music and dancing.
Josiah was really happy, she loved to dance, she loved to cuddle. No, she was just a really happy baby, she longed for that, long hugs and, she was really lovable.
This Saturday will mark a grim milestone for a First Nation in Northern Ontario living under the longest boil water advisory in Canada. February 1st marks the 30th year without safe drinking water for Niskantika First Nation, an anniversary the chief says is unconscionable. Niskantika First Nation is 430 kilometers northeast of Thunder Bay. Residents have been forced to rely on bottled or boiled water for drinking, cooking, and hygiene. Multiple attempts have been made over the years to resolve the boil water advisory. In 2016, then Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations Carolyn Bennett visited the nation and promised they would have safe drinking water by the spring of 2018. That deadline came and went with no progress. Chief Chris Munoz is calling on the next Prime Minister to take decisive steps to resolve the crisis. The first Indigenous candidate to run for the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada has ended their campaign. Mi'kmaq Member of Parliament Jaime Batiste made history last week when he announced his leadership bid. If he had won, he would have become the first Indigenous Prime Minister of Canada. On Thursday afternoon, Batiste released a statement saying he believed the best way forward to advance reconciliation, protect the environment, and to address the wealth gap was to endorse Mark Carney. Under the Liberal leadership contest rules, a non-refundable payment of $50,000 was due on Thursday. There are now 5 candidates still in the leadership race, including frontrunners Carney and Chrystia Friedland. Long Plain First Nation's Kyra Wilson has been elected as the Assembly of Manitoba Chief's new Grand Chief, winning over half of the total votes on the first ballot. Reporter Sierra Bettens has more from Wednesday's election.
Tears of joy erupted from the crowd as Kyra Wilson was elected the next Grand Chief of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. The 38-year-old former chief of Long Plain First Nation won the by-election on Wednesday with 37 out of 61 votes. The 3 other candidates in the running were Bava Dillon, Leroy Constant, and Glenn Hudson.
Let's put our hands together for the Chiefs and Assembly coming together to vote in Kyra Wilson today.
The by-election was prompted by the death of Grand Chief Kathy Merrick in September 2024. Royal Lake Chief Betsy Kennedy stepped in as acting Grand Chief of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. In the past, Wilson worked closely with Merrick on the campaign to search the Prairie Green landfill for the remains of 2 Indigenous women.
I had a really great connection with our late Grand Chief, and she was a strong leader, and I want to be able to honor, that legacy that she left behind at the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, and I still feel connected, to her and the work that we were able to do together.
Wilson says she plans to tackle many issues as Grand Chief, including housing, healthcare, and accessibility in northern communities.
Some of the accessibility issues in some of our northern communities, I know that has been brought up several times regarding whether it's all-weather roads, some of the transportation means that communities have to deal with. So those are some of the things that I definitely want to take a look at.
She'll also serve as an advocate for economic reconciliation.
Our nations deserve the best, and they deserve the same opportunities as everybody else. So I want to be able to talk to our different levels of government when we talk about economic reconciliation.
As Grand Chief, Wilson will act as a voice for First Nations in Manitoba across multiple levels of government. She plans to take a collaborative approach, informed by community voices.
I want to work together. I want to be able to support our nations, and I intend on doing that. So it's my hope that all the levels of government want to have a collaborative approach.
Now a sworn-in Grand Chief, she thanks those who helped her along the way.
Everyone has been so supportive, and I'm just so honored to be in this position. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for that support.
Sierra Buttons, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Donald Trump, the new president of the United States, has signed over 36 executive orders since taking office on January 20th. One of his executive orders was to dissolve diversity, equity, and inclusion policies known as DEIs. The Pentagon's Intelligence Department has now paused all activities, events, and observances to several events during the year, including Black History Month, Pride Month, Women's Equality Day, and National Native American History Month. Former Republican President George H.W. Bush declared the month of November for recognizing National Native American History Month in 1990. It's the first of its kind in the Waterloo region of Ontario. A week and a half from now, an Indigenous daycare centre will open, creating 61 new childcare spaces. CTV's Krista Sharp tells us the goal is to connect families to traditional teachings.
61 brand new daycare spaces.
This will hold 15 toddlers.
Putting Indigenous culture top of mind.
Think about what happened during residential school, about culture being stripped away, the assimilation, about taking the Indian out of the child. This daycare is to put all that back.
The ribbon was cut Thursday at the region of Waterloo's first Indigenous child care centre.
We prioritize Inuit, Métis, First Nation children, and with the intent to provide culture-specific learning experiences.
Located in South Cambridge, it can be found on the One List and is participating in the federal $10 a day program, with day-to-day operations run by the healing of the 7 generations.
The difference here will be the teachings. Right now we don't have a clear path on where we're going for teachings. We're leaving it to the community and where they want their children to be, what path they want, the teachings and the language, but that's what's the main difference, having the cultural teachings and the language.
It's very important to me because myself, I'm from Six Nations.
For parents like Savannah Martin, it's all about her kids being allowed to be true to themselves.
I know like a lot of people that grow up without their Indigenous identity, they're really like searching for it. So it's important to me that I give them kind of the best foundation I feel that I can give them.
Staff are currently taking additional courses.
And then when the students finish the course with the Six Nations Polytechnique, they will have their Indigenous ways of knowings and beings, and then they'll be able to hopefully come on board with us and bring their teachings.
The infant room already has a wait list, but the toddler and preschool rooms still have a few spaces left.
If you're Indigenous, First Nation, Métis, and Inuit, please get your name on the One List and get registered.
Doors open for children on February 10th. Krista Sharp, CTV News.
Time for a quick break, but first, a look at a story we're working on for you in the coming days.
I'm Tyler Shingus. Conversations regarding a proposed location for a safe injection site in Winnipeg are ongoing. Community members have raised concerns over the potential effects the site can introduce to an already stressed neighborhood, especially being next door to a school.
Here's the thing. Every politician I've ever heard, when they campaign, will say, our youth are the future. But as soon as they're elected, that kind of goes out the window. And the safe injection site, so close to schools, is a testament to that.
Coming up soon on APTN National News.
Welcome back. February is Saskatchewan Indigenous Storytelling Month. The event highlights the importance of Indigenous peoples sharing their stories across the province. Rachel May has more.
So that's a huge component that I've noticed over the years, is that not just that mode of transfer knowledge, but also that utilizing the traditions and the customs to for our modern day and age of inspiring each other and motivating each other, empowering each other, and giving us that positive energy we need to grow and heal and take on the world.
For 22 years, Indigenous storytellers have shared their culture and language in Saskatchewan. Starting February 1st, artists, poets, dancers, filmmakers, and musicians will tour schools, libraries, and cultural organizations across the province. Jessica Young, project coordinator for the Saskatchewan Indigenous Storytelling Project, says a new theme is emerging as the project continues to grow.
We talked a lot about intergenerational trauma from the experiences of colonization, and now we're starting to see that the message come through of intergenerational healing, like that strength coming through of like we could do this, we can learn our ways again, we can learn our language again. We just need support, we need help, we need a community.
Jessiah says that the project brings people together to help preserve Indigenous culture. Tequila Friday, a Métis author and claymation artist, will share her work through February at the Chinook Regional Library in Swift Current. She says her family has been a big influence on her creativity and drive to keep stories alive, and now she wants to pass that on.
Now that I have nieces and nephews, I want them to know their culture, and though we don't have like the same traditions right now due to kind of like all the technology and people being spread about, I still want them to be able to come to my home and share some of those memories with them and those traditions with them.
Friday says attendees at her storytelling sessions will hear her family stories, jokes, and memories.
I will tell bits and pieces of the monster wolf dog and relate it to an event that actually happened to me, to where I thought this dog was following me. But it wasn't.
A full event list across the province is available on the Library Services for Saskatchewan Aboriginal Peoples website. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
First Nations newspaper Indian Times closed their doors in Akwesasne last month after decades in production. They're citing a lack of funds from ad revenue. As reporter Savannah Craig shows us, many Indigenous media are experiencing barriers from funding to getting their stories out there.
Indigenous media is in crisis. After 59 years in operation, Inuvik-based newspaper, the Inuvik Drum, shuttered its doors. Just weeks before, Akwesasne-based paper, Indian Time, ended operations after more than 40 years.
Indian Time opened up in 1983, so that was quite a long run. But the last few years, it was difficult to compete with online media.
Marjorie Skitters was the editor of Indian Time. She says a big void in news coverage remains at a pivotal time. As Akwesasne runs through the borders of both Canada and the United States, concern is growing as some of U.S. President Donald Trump's recent anti-immigration roundups have targeted members of the Navajo Nation.
Now there's a vacuum. There's no media for this community, and there's no media for any Native community that has lost their newspaper.
Both Indian Time and Inuvik Drum closed due to lack of ad revenue. Even an established news outlet like The Nation is experiencing issues.
We were just starting to get advertising from Facebook and that, and we were starting to use it in certain ways and expand on it, and all of a sudden there's no access.
Will Nichols runs The Nation, a news magazine serving Quebec's Cree communities. He says the meta ban has hindered their relationship across Instagram and Facebook. Nichols says the nation also uses grants from the government, but he says these grants are very limited for Indigenous media.
Even after 35 years, I'm only making $40,000 a year, and we really can't afford to pay me any more than that.
Steve Bonspiel runs Ganawage's newspaper, The Eastern Door.
It all depends on how it's structured.
He says the paper gets some money from grants, but it is limited.
If we were only doing ad sales and only circulation, we'd be in trouble.
Out of the fire of the Oka crisis, or known to locals as the Siege of Ganasadage, The Eastern Door was born in 1992. Bonspiel says the paper amplified Indigenous voices and perspectives in the aftermath of the crisis, during a time where Indigenous voices were invisible in the media.
Other than that, all my other stories are in.
While the Eastern Door remains strong, there's always decisions about cutting costs.
Our print bill is so high. I'm like, there's going to come a time where we're like, do we cut this out? Can we make it work online?
Even outside of times of crisis, Indigenous-run media is still necessary.
It's important for the community to see themselves in the paper and in any media. That's the only way you can understand who you're writing about, who you're covering, the stories you're covering, why the trauma exists, why certain people won't look you in the eye and why others will talk your ear off for an hour, without asking one question. So all of that is understanding our communities.
Savannah Craig, APTN National News, Montreal.
Great work Steve does over there. The Canadian Armed Forces is appointing its first Indigenous knowledge keeper, who also happens to be a former member of Parliament. Warrant Officer Robert Falcon-Ouellette is being given the honor. Ouellette has served for nearly 3 decades in the CAF, first starting with the Navy League and Sea Cadets. The CAF says the Knowledge Keeper position represents its commitment to Indigenous spirituality. Ouellette's promotion parade is happening here in Winnipeg at the Minto Armory. Time now to recap this week's web poll questions. And our poll questions for this week were, if alcohol companies put health warning labels on their products, would it make you think twice about how much you drink? Yes, no, or I don't drink. Another question, do you think Alaska's wildlife refuge should be open to oil exploration? Yes, no, or unsure. And should there be stricter regulations on the development and use of AI in Canada? Yes, no, current regulations are sufficient, or unsure. You can go to our website, aptnnews.ca, to cast your vote. A 17-year-old Métis hockey player has just won a gold medal. We'll bring you her story after the break. Welcome back. Here's a look at your current conditions. 12 below in Fredericton, -1 in Halifax. 19 below in Kuujjuaq, snow, and -18 in Nain. Cloudy and -7 in Montreal, 16 below with snow in Val-d'Or. -6 in Sault Ste. Marie, flurries and 11 below in North Bay. -8 with snow in Thunder Bay, flurries and 23 below in Sioux Lookout. Sunny and -28 in God's Lake, 36 below in Puckatawagan. -23 in Winnipeg, sun's out and -29 in Dauphin. Cloudy and 13 below in Regina, -20 in Saskatoon. -33 in La Ronge, 39 below in Uranium City. In northern Alberta, flurries and -28 in Fort Chipewyan, 21 below with snow in high level. -9 and snow in Edmonton, 5 above with snow in Lethbridge. 8 in Vancouver, Victoria, and Tofino. -18 in Prince George, snow, and -5 in Smithers. -38 in Old Crow, 30 below in Dawson. -32 for Yellowknife, 28 below in Norman Wells. -26 with snow in Sax Harbor, 34 below in Fort McPherson. -27 in Chesterfield, Whale Cove, and Arviette. -30 in Resolute, 24 below with snow in Joe Haven. A 17-year-old Métis girl from BC playing for Team Canada recently won gold at the Under-18 Hockey World Championship in Finland. APTN's Tina House had a chance to catch up with the young hockey star who has some big dreams for her future.
Seconds wind down. Canada is golden! 2025 U18 Women's World Champions, knocking off their greatest rival, the United States, 3-0 in the final.
We're so excited to be joined by Danica Maynard, who just returned from Helsinki. Danica, what were you doing over there?
We were playing for Team Canada for hockey at the U18 World Championships held in Vantaa, Finland.
And how did you do?
We won gold, and it was super exciting. It was a great opportunity, and it was amazing to do it with my teammates and all my friends.
That is so exciting, and actually you're wearing your medal right now.
Yeah, it's just such an honor to be able to wear it, and it's so honored, and it's so beautiful to just be able to represent my country.
That's so exciting. And you're Métis.
Yes.
And you're the only Métis person out of BC to join this competition, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and you're 17 years old now. How long have you been playing hockey for?
I started on the ice when I was just 18 months old. I was inspired by my brother. He's the one that kind of pushed me into playing hockey, and ever since then I've always just played the game and been playing forever now. And I started on a team when I was 4, and I just always love it, and it's a passion of mine.
Wow. So tell me what the dedication this takes. I mean, a lot of early mornings to the rink and practicing, is that correct?
Yeah, me and my dad, a few people from Jessiah, so we would do some early morning practices. We would always go on the ice Tuesday, Thursdays at 6 a.m. And I think from that, just waking up early and doing the skills outside of your club team and just pushing yourself every day is what helps you to accomplish goals like this.
Amazing. Do you have some role models in the hockey world?
Oh, a bunch. Got a bunch. Venla Hovey and Amanda Pelkey, they actually coach me. They inspire me a lot, as well as I like a lot of hockey players in the NHL. Obviously, there's Quinn Hughes and all that, as well as Joycelyn Larocque. I think she's also a great inspiration. She's also an Indigenous athlete, which I think is amazing.
Amazing. And where do you hope to be in your future?
Yeah, obviously I want to play in the PWHL, the new league, but for the next 4 years I'll be at Penn State University studying forensic science. So hopefully that, obviously that will do good, and then can hopefully continue with Team Canada as well, and go to the PW later on.
Incredible. Danica Maynard, a young star on the rise. Such an honor to meet you, and congratulations. We're so very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Back to you in the studio.
Good stuff. Congrats. That is all the time we have for your first look at the day's news. You can stay up to date by visiting our website, aptnnews.ca, and I will see you back here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for your APTN National News. I'm Dennis Ward. Marcy Miigwech, thanks for being with us. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.